Hello and welcome to Radicals Part 1. We're going to take this entire radical, the square root of 8, and we're going to change it into a different form that's called a mixed radical. Now what we mean by an entire radical and a mixed radical is as follows. The entire radical has no number out in front. When we change it to a mixed radical, there will be a number that's out in front of the square root. So let me show you how we do this. We're going to take the square root of 8 and we're going to change it. Think of the 8 as 4 times 2. Now, when you have radicals and you have things multiplied together, you can split the radicals. You can do this. Root 4 times root 2. And that allows me to now write my final mixed radical form, which is to take the root 4 and write it as a 2. So this is my mixed radical. It's called a mixed radical because it has a number out in front and a radical. And the entire radical just has the square root of a number, no number out in front. The key to the whole thing is recognizing that one of these factors of 8 is a perfect square number. Like the square root of 4, it turns into a really nice whole number when we're done. So let's look at another example. Just clear this off the screen. Let's take the square root of 60 and work that into a mixed radical. So I have to come up with numbers that are factors of 60. And ultimately, I want this number here to be a nice square number. So I have to think of all the factors of 60. Well, there's 2 times 30. They're no good because they're not square numbers. 3 times 20, that's no good. They're not square numbers either, but 4 times 15. So that's what I'm going to use. Now, this is great because I now have the square root of 4 times the square root of 15, and that turns into 2 times the square root of 15. And there it is. There's my mixed radical answer. All right. One more quick example of those, and then we're going to go work the other way. So let's say I had something like the square root of 50. Okay. Usually we don't have to write everything out. We can kind of go right into this form here. What are some factors of 50, one of which would be a nice square number? How about 25 times 2? That's nice because the square root of 25 is 5, and I'm all done. And there's my mixed radical answer. Okay, now what if you had to work backwards? What if you had something like this and somebody said, can you rewrite that as an entire radical? How do I do it? Well, what I got to do is think, where did this 5 come from? What was that? That was the square root of something, and then I have times the square root of 3. Well, the 5 was actually the square root of 25. Now that I've written it as a radical, it's easy to put them together under one roof, where I have 25 times 3, and here's my entire radical, square root of 75. Okay, so let's just do one more of those. And then I think we're good with radicals part 1. Let's see, how about we have 4 times root 6. What would that be? Well, we would change the 4 into the square root of something. And that something would be, there's actually a little trick here. You can take the 4 and think of it as 4 squared. That's the number ultimately that you want to put under the radical. So it's 16. Square root of 16 is 4. Now I can put these two together under one roof and just go 16 times 6. And just got to work out that number. And that, what are we going to get there? 96. There's our entire radical, the square root of 96. And that means I'm done for now. Catch you later.